Hello, everybody. This is Running on Empty, the Loud House review. I don't want to make this video. Um, Season 4 was worse than Season 3. Quite a bit worse. Probably worse than Season 2 as well. It bored me. I don't know if it's worse than Season 1. It was a long time ago that I watched Season 1. It wasn't that long ago. But I don't really remember if it's better or worse than season one. Maybe we can get back to that on a rewatch or something. But man, this season was not good. So let's just jump into it. This might be a shorter video because generally I want to talk about the things that I liked. But let's get into it. Okay, so Friended with the Casagrandes. This was a good episode. So the whole I think it's the first 7 episodes of the Loud House. Okay, it's the first 5 episodes. So the first 5 episodes of the Loud House season 4 are tie-ins with the Casagrandes because they're trying to promote the new show, right? So let's start with the good part. The good part is that now that I have gotten to see more of these characters, I actually enjoy them a lot more now. I think these are more engaging storylines because I have gotten to know the Casagrandes better over the sort of it's 5 episodes, sure, but it's also it's 4 double episodes, so it's really 9 episodes. I feel like over those 9 episodes I got to know the characters better. I found them quite likable. I think it was CJ. I thought he was pretty cool. Can we get this guy? Obviously I like Ronnie Ann and Bobby already. They've spent plenty of time on the letters. I thought Sid was really cool. I really enjoyed her character. Her enthusiasm and excitability was cool. This guy's kind of annoying. Carl. He's kind of annoying. But yeah, no, I thought I got to like these characters. Specifically with regards to the episode, it was fine. It was a very typical plot structure. It's a double episode. Ronnie Ann meets Sid and then does something bad to try and spend more time with her, and then she owns up to her mistake, I am gonna just skip over these because honestly I don't have as much to say about them, and I don't want this video to go on forever because it's pretty late right now, and I feel like maybe we'll come back to this when I watch the Casagrandes because I will be doing that. Maybe we'll come back to it. So Washed Up, the first episode actually of the Loud House. And so this episode's okay. I thought it was good to it was refreshing after 9 episodes of the Casagrandes. It was refreshing to not only come back to the Loud House, but also get every single character. Every single character was in this episode, and they all had a moment, if not multiple, that was centered around them. It does make the plesiosaur canon. So that's interesting. But overall, I thought this was a good episode. I found this bit really funny where they were watching TV and Luann was there. I'll tell you, I think Luann's probably my favorite character after this season. Not because this season does her particularly well, although it does. But because I'll get to it. So, Recipe for Disaster. Lincoln and Clyde as Ace and Jack investigate when they discover a frozen food company using Dad's recipes. It was a silly episode, I like watching them do the whole detective thing. I like the gag that they keep wrongly accusing people, and I found it really interesting that Lucy actually does funeral proceedings for real people and not just like pretend ones. So she kind of has a business going on, I guess. Like, I don't know. That is a stack of money. So I don't know. Good for her. Good for her. Um, and then of course they find out that Lynn and this woman, what's her name? Mildred and Lynn actually created the recipes together. So you know, you kind of knew that it wasn't actually going to be that that someone had stolen the recipe, because it just like, I don't know, it just felt that way. So what is this episode? Present tense. That was a really sweet episode. These guys wanted to do something for their dad, which, they did. They made this scrapbook, but then they kind of thought, like, oh, maybe we should do something better. And then they kept trying to do better and better things, but they didn't have any money. But in the end, Lynn finds it, and it's just the most adorable thing. He finds it, and he absolutely loves it, and it's just great. I thought this episode was really sweet, how they had all come together and tried to do this nice thing, and Lynn really appreciated it. Another reason why Lynn is also one of my favorite characters. Any given Sunday. Lily hears the parents mention. Okay, I have a lot to say about this episode. First of all, I thought it was a pretty good episode. It was kind of an interesting thing where we have this like silent main character, but also there's enough like dialogue to keep it like entertaining. But also it kind of made me realize that like all of the loud kids are precocious, right? And obviously Lisa's precocious. She's 4 years old, and she's like a Nobel Prize winning time travel inventing scientist. But Lily is like 15 months old or something. She's a little over 1 year old, and she's organizing this whole like stunt to try and get ice cream. And of course she gets it in the end, which is very poggers, because I'm happy for her. But no, she organizes this whole thing, which takes an incredible degree of intelligence for a 15-month-old. It's just, it made me realize, but that's not it, because we also learned in another episode that is not this one, or maybe it was probably a different episode, that apparently Lucy has been doing like funeral proceedings since she was like a year old or something. Like all of the loud kids are very smart. All of them are very smart. They're precocious. Lola's 6 years old and she's very good at pageants. And I guess somebody has to win, but you know what I mean. Like all of these kids, like obviously maybe not Lenny, but Lori. She's like really good at golf. She's going to college and stuff. She's really clever. There is really something to it, where they're not all prodigies, but I mean Lana is. She's like a plumber and she's like good at it. She's 6, so it's really interesting. Can't hardly wait. Lori takes a job as a waitress. This was really sweet. They really wanted to spend time together. Lori's gonna be moving away for college, so they felt sad. She now works at his restaurant. Was struggling to find a place that fit her, and ended up being a good manager. I thought that was a job that really suited her, honestly. A mutt above. Spurred on by a classmate's mocking about Charles, Lana decides to train him to compete in a local dog show. This was another, like, be yourself episode. Like, it was not very unique or interesting. Lovebirds. After Walt's failed attempt at romance, Charles, Cliff, and Geo try to find their pal a love connection. I'll be honest, I didn't watch this episode. I got about 3 minutes in, and it was the most boring thing. Because first of all, I don't care about these pets. And second of all, Um, yeah, no, that's it. I just do not care about these pets, and I did not want to watch a mostly silent episode focusing on characters that I have no interest in, so I skipped this. Rocket Man. Rocket Man. This was fine. I don't really have much to say about it. A grave mistake. So Lucy and Haiku compete to be the new president of the Young Morticians Club. This kind of, so this episode reveals that Lucy is a Republican. Because she manipulated the election result. That's a joke. She's not. I don't know. It was kind of a good moment where it's like, you shouldn't compete with your friends. You should like compromise. You're better together or whatever. It was a pretty good episode, and any Lucy focused episode is a treat because we don't get a lot of them. I don't care much about her goth friends like Boris and Haiku and stuff. But I just do like to see more of her, so that is good. Um yeah, Lenny becomes a funnager. Tales of Woe. Stella's music box disappears at school. Gang immediately suspect a student urban legend known as the Rat Beast. It's, again, here's the problem with season 4 is that it was so middle. It was so mid tier. Like, all of these episodes gave me nothing to work with. They were not necessarily boring. A lot of them were boring. But that's not the problem I had with it. The problem I had with it was not that they were boring, but that they didn't. They just were so middle. They weren't good. They were just kind of okay. And I wasn't interested in that. Last Loud on Earth. This was actually a marked improvement on, what was it, One Flew Over the Loud House, the episode where they all got sick. Last Loud on Earth is very similar. Is very similar in that, like, it's a zombie parody, but it doesn't have the problems of, like, oh, they're being mean to their siblings or whatever. They're not helping them, or they're being dramatic or whatever. They think it's a zombie apocalypse, and it's not, but it was fun to watch. And of course, it is kind of upsetting that these guys ended up in such a sorry state, but that's a minor thing. Stall monitor. Lincoln tries to delay his parent-teacher conference. It was fine. Pimple plan. Luann wakes up with a pimple on the day of her first date. This was a great episode. It was kind of a frustrating episode. However, it's a Luann episode, and I like Luann. I liked watching her interact with Benny, which is why it's a shame that the entire episode was spent with her hiding from him. But the conclusion is that they're happy together anyway, blah blah blah. This is the first episode in a series of, are these dolls actually alive? We'll get to it. But basically, they did this thing by themselves, and they didn't know about it, which is kind of sus, don't you think? But it was a good episode. It was dramatic for like a pimple or whatever, but I just liked seeing their relationship. It was so cute. Kings of the Con. I don't know why this was a double episode. Like, it had nothing interesting to me. And yeah, I guess it was just kind of dumb and boring. I didn't like it. No, what I did like was the fucking scene at the end here. It was kind of a fight scene, I guess. I thought it was cool to see all the girls do their thing, and you have the spade thing, and you have the abacus and all that. I thought that was cool. And also, like, this design reminded me of Trish Una from part 5, and then I realized that That's not a thing. Good sports. Lynn finds an unexpected TV sports watching buddy in the family's next door neighbor, Mr. Bruce. This was a fine episode. I was happy that it was a Lynn episode where she wasn't being an asshole. And, it's kind of unusual that her friend ended up being Mr. Grouse, but I'm happy for them. I'm glad they got over their dispute. Yeah. Jerry Antics. When Lisa realizes that Pop Pop won't be around forever, she turns to science to ensure his longevity. This was a good episode. It was. I think that Lisa certainly has like an anxiety thing because we saw in like season 1, I think. It was like the family trip episode, and it was like it was like she was like listing off ways that they could die in this car or whatever, Vanzilla. So I think this kind of expands on that in being like, yeah, she's worried for her granddad, and I thought it was sweet what she was trying to do, even if in the end it wasn't what was best for him. I just thought it was really sweet that they ended up sort of just being cool, being pals. Scoots will find she will live forever. Exchange of heart. To divert the attention of his helicopter dads, Clyde arranges for an exchange student to stay with them. It's an important episode because Clyde needs the independence. And when he got it and explored it, I think he had a lot of fun. I think he also just wanted to spend more time with his dad. Of course, we found out that they were not ever actually leaving him, like completely free or whatever, but one could argue that was just them making sure he had a safe way to enjoy that freedom. I don't know. They definitely need to get over their whole like anxiety thing. However, I was glad to see Clyde have some freedom. Community disservice. It's not an episode in the Lola is the Best character series, but it is not a bad episode. This episode does not make Lola out to be a bad person or anything. It's just not that good of an episode. She meets Melly and she tries to make her popular, but that's not really Melly's thing. But Melly was just happy to have a friend. She goes to her pageant and Melly's left all alone. So she comes back and she actually ends up being friends with her, which is great because, this episode would be for nothing if they didn't have a lasting friendship. And you know what? Maybe we won't see them again, but it's the fact that it's the fact that Lola gave up her pageant, which is something we know means a lot to her, and then spent the whole day with Melly that really shows like this was more important to her, right? She learned from her mistake. However, the fact that she went through all of this and never picked up on the fact that Melly was not very enthused about it, she really should have taken note of that, and I think it was quite negligent. So, deep cuts. Luna discovers that a High School Music Club will be axed due to budget cuts. I don't really get this episode. No, I do get this episode, but right here, who is she? Like, who? Like Principal Rivers, right? What about Principal Huggins? Because Principal Huggins is the one in charge, right? Or is this... Oh, okay, maybe they're at a different school because they're older, actually. That makes sense. Principal Huggins is in charge of the middle school, and they're in high school. Okay, no, I figured it out. I still think this episode was okay. I mean, like, whatever. They fucked up. They made up for their mistakes. It was fine. Yeah, no, that was my beef for not realizing that they're in high school and Lincoln is not. Game off. Desperate to play Lincoln's trash-themed video game, Lana conspires to distract her brother away from the console. It was a good episode. It was not a great episode, but it was a good episode. I liked that we got a Lana episode where I guess, yes, she was being gross because she was playing a trash video game. However, she wasn't actually like rolling around in mud and shit, you know? I liked that they put in all this effort to do this for Lincoln. Lincoln was understandably upset, but I like that he made up with them in the end because Lincoln's such a good older brother. It was a good episode. Right and wrong. I don't have a lot to say about this episode. It's another be yourself episode, which is fantastic message, but stop doing it. Perfect gig. It was a cute episode. It's a Luna episode. It's a Luna and Sam episode. It's a Clyde episode. It was all good. I liked this episode a lot. Singled out. I kind of liked it. Not gonna lie. First of all, had another same-sex couple. Where are they? Here they are. Second of all, it was cool to see Lynn have an episode where she's not being an asshole, and I get it. This is not the first time. However, it happens too much. So she gets a boyfriend gets a girlfriend, and they both end up realizing that they were only doing it because everyone else had them, but they can still be friends, which is cool. Brave the Last Dance. Clyde recruits Lincoln and the gang to find out if a girl he has a crush on at school feels the same way. I don't care for this episode. It's not like it's a bad one. I'm just not very invested in their friends. Like, I like Stella. I like Clyde. Not really invested in these ginger people. I'm glad they got along, I guess, but or these people got along. Different people. I'm happy for Clyde. I just didn't care for it. Sister Act. It was a cute little episode. Like, I don't have anything wrong with it, but I can't act like it was a profoundly amazing... This was disgusting. I can't act like it was a profoundly amazing episode or anything. House Flip. This is a bad episode. I don't want to talk about it. Don't You Forget About Me. This was a terrible episode. Absolutely god awful. Lenny is supposed to be the nice one. This does not mean that Lenny can never do anything wrong, but the fact that they made her do something as straight up malicious as try to ruin Laurie's chance at going to a prestigious golf college that she worked very hard for, that was evil. This is not Lenny, and this is not canon, because I decided it's not. Tough Cookies. Wow, it's a lesson in business management. I don't care. What? I guess the message is to enjoy your childhood, but... On Thin Ice. Lynn's extreme sports and superstitions cause chaos at a professional hockey match. I don't care about this stuff. We had another episode like this, No Such Luck. No Such Luck was worse, but On Thin Ice was still not good. This is the kind of episode where I'm like, Lynn's acting like an asshole. And moreover, it portrays Lynn as being almost like fucking crazy, right? Like, literally... She believes in so many crazy superstitions that it's not even believable anymore. Like, I'm not saying she should not have her superstitions. That's a pretty important part of her character. I just wish they didn't take it to such an extreme. Because it's frustrating. And it's like the only defining character trait she has, other than the fact that she likes sports. God. I just can't care for Lynn. She's by far my least favorite. because she just, every time she's on screen, she frustrates me. Room and Hoard. Unable to part with their childhood toys, the kids try to convince mom and dad that they still play with them. I don't care. Was there any good moments in this episode? It's not a bad episode. Don't think I'm like upset with it. But was there anything good, like actually noteworthy? I don't think there was. It was kind of fine. A Star is Scorned. This was a good episode. Is it another episode in the Lola is the Best Character series? No. No, it is not, because Lola does something that I don't like, but we'll get to it. This A Star is Scorned is like a worse version of Head Poet's Anxiety. So remember how I said in my Head Poet's Anxiety review that they could have made Luann like sabotage Lucy and that would be the thing, but instead they didn't. They did do that here. So here we go. Like, the basic plot of this is that Lily wants to do the Lola stuff, and so they end up working together, but Lola doesn't like the fact that she's not in the spotlight. And then they end up going to this competition together, and they're competing, and Lola tries to sabotage Lily. But then she realized that she shouldn't do that, because Lily literally just really looked up to her older sister and wanted to do the same things that she did and spend time together and have fun, because Lily is the sweetest child. And so Lola, makes up for her mistake by sacrificing her own position in the competition. However, that doesn't really make up for the fact that she tried to sabotage Lily in the first place. I don't know what a better way to write this would it be. Should it be an exact copy of Head Poet's Anxiety, where Lola cheers her on anyway? Maybe. I mean, at least that would be different, because in this case, they're at least competing with each other, whereas Luann and Lucy were not competing. So it would still be different. So maybe that's what they should have done. Maybe Lola could have gotten upset that Lily was being so popular, but she decided, that's fine, because I always beat my competition, right? I'm always against really talented people. She was okay with losing in that one episode where she went to the regional pageant or something. Why couldn't she have that same attitude going into this competition with Lily? I don't know. Senior moment. Laurie regrets everything she hasn't done in high school and vows to make up for lost time. This is a very I think it's a realistic episode. A lot of the time people they feel like and we feel like it FOMO, feeling of missing out. It's about not getting to do, you want to do all the things that it's trying to do all the things that you wanted to do. And in this case, Laurie didn't actually enjoy these things because she was just doing them because that's what the movie said she should do, when in reality it was fine to just hang out and be friends with her friends, right? So it was a pretty good episode. Wheel and Deal. Lana wants to win a race car right along with her hero, so she and Lincoln enter to compete in a soapbox race. It's fine. It was a Lana episode. She got what she wanted. I don't know. I don't have much to say about it. Feast or Family. Fuck, this is such a good episode. Probably the best episode this season, if only because of the fact that it's a Luann and Lynn episode, my two favourite characters, but not only that, it's a good Luann and Lynn episode. So what happens? Okay, Luann discovers that she actually has a talent for cooking, and she enjoys cooking. So she does some cooking with Lynn, everything's going great, but then Lynn starts to take the fun out of cooking because his over-enthusiasm, Luann's just not there for it. So she's getting upset, but then Lynn realizes, I'm sorry. We can do it at your pace, and I understand that your passion is comedy and you don't want to take over my restaurant. It was a good episode. I liked it. I thought that it was funny. And there was a cute visual gag here where Luann was erupting with rage, but the steam coming out of her ears was actually from behind her here. Although it doesn't really work, because if you look here, the steam goes in front of her hair, which doesn't make sense with where she's standing. I wonder if that's in the they normally have like an errors section. I wonder if that's in the media information. Do they have an error? Yeah, the steam is layered over Luann's ponytail. I noticed it, but anyway. A Dark and Story Night. This is a good episode. It reminded me a lot of Garnet's Universe. It is a fictional story told by the kids, and it was great to see them getting along, having fun, and making a little story together. Lucy and the Morticians Club tried to thwart plans for a school field trip to the beach. I guess it was fine. I liked that Lucy ended up enjoying the beach and thinking, oh, you know what? Being a normie isn't so bad, because that sort of elitism is not the kind of thing I want from Lucy. And she already kind of learned better in the episode about Vom. Other than that, I do not care for her mortician friends. How double dare you? It was fine. This is a fine episode. Snoop's on. After secretly reading Luna's oh god. Lenny wouldn't do that. Maybe Lenny would do this. I can understand that she would be nosy. But she's kind. Wouldn't she have more sympathy? I could see it from Lincoln. Basically because Lincoln's a blank slate of a character that can fit whichever narrative the episode wants to go with. But why Lenny? And Luann as well? I mean, I could believe that Luann would do that, but why pick her? Why not just make another character? Like, I could believe Lynn wanting to do that. I could absolutely see Lola. Why did you pick Luann? Friends in Dry Places. It's fine. Coup dreams. In order to buy a dream car, Laurie becomes a local rideshare driver. Not the series finale I wanted. Laurie doesn't make enough money because capitalism. It was just like, I did not have a lot of good things to say. I did not have a lot of good things to say about this episode. I'll see you next time. With the movie review. That'll probably be tomorrow because the movie's only 2 hours long. It will not take me... I think... Yeah, it just won't take me long to get through it. So, I'll see you then.